We're good.
Welcome, everyone. This is my first time to this student high school. What a beautiful building. Today's date is October 8th, and the time is 6:01, the planning advisory board meeting. I will go over Laura Clemens, Ed Evans, Michael Petro, Dan Mason, Elizabeth Baltimore, and myself, Gus Kurtz. We have 5 members and we have 4. I'd like a motion to approve the agenda. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor? Any nays? The agenda is approved. Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 24th meeting. Any second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion is approved. Before we start the PAD meeting, I'll provide a little context on our board, because there's a lot of folks who may not be familiar with our work. The PAD is a voluntary board of 7 members, 25 annual executives. Each member comes from one of the 7 council districts. We make advisory recommendations on maps of plans, zoning maps, and the capital budget programs. Tonight's agenda will start with a brief overview of the offices of planning and zoning before we hear from the public. The planning and zoning board received a much longer briefing on Region 5 on September 17th. And the recording of that meeting is available on the Region 5 website. In our public hearing, we listen and note your comments. The planning advisory board will not make any recommendations this evening when any zoning changes. Open CCPA will not respond to comments and questions tonight. The staff will prepare a summary of all the comments received, and this board will deliberate and make a recommendation on the draft Region 5 plan. On our meeting on November 19th. So when we start the meeting, I'll start to Mark.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you to everyone attending tonight and to everyone who has been engaged in the process. My name is Mark Wildonger, and I am the Senior Planner on the Region 5 team. I'm also joined in person tonight by my Region 5 colleague, Sam Myers, which you may have seen at some other stakeholder advisory committee meetings. And I do want to also thank the numerous other staff members from the Office of Planning and Zoning and other county departments who have helped put together this draft plan and draft zoning map. During this process, the Office of Planning and Zoning worked closely with the county executive and county council appointed stakeholder advisory committee. We also received a significant amount of public comments over the past year and a half. So thank you to the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, the SAC, and those who shared their concerns and ideas. The Office of Planning and Zoning provided, again, a briefing on the region plan and comprehensive zoning process to the Planning Advisory Board on September 17th. You can find information on where to find that recording at aacounty.org, Region 5. On September 17th, OPZ did a lot of talking, so tonight is your night to tell us your concerns or ideas and how you envision this community over the next 10 to 20 years. So again, tonight I'll provide a brief overview of some of the highlights of the draft Region 5 plan, recommended zoning changes, and talk about the next steps in this process. So just to help orient us, to the Region 5 area. Again, it's really this area from 450, the Crofton area, up to the Odenton Town Center area and the Maryland 32 highway there to the north. For the purposes of our own planning and sort of breaking this Region 5 down into some more digestible areas, we broke it into these communities, which you then see on that this other map here, where we have talked about Odenton, Piney Orchard, Woodwardville, Two Rivers, Crofton, Gambrels. We know that some of these boundaries may not necessarily align with how you perceive where you may live, but again, it's just for our own planning purposes. So again, regions, in the first round, we broke this region plan process up into 3 rounds, doing 3 at a time. Regions 2, 4, and 7 were adopted in 2024. 1, 3, and 9, they were adopted earlier this year. And again, regions 5, 6, and 8 are currently ongoing. And that process started in April 2024. And we anticipate to bring this draft plan and draft zoning map to County Council in early 2026. So again, just to provide some highlights for tonight, because we really do want to have you all do the talking tonight, just to hit some of the highlights and some zoning recommendations to consider, because again, some of the members may not have been able to attend or review the recording of that meeting. This will serve as just a brief refresher. So based on public input, the draft plan recommends protecting the Jabez branch and other green areas, working with the federal government to maintain agricultural uses at the dairy farm, managing traffic along Maryland 3, making public transit more accessible, creating more and safer bicycle and pedestrian facilities, additional community facilities like an aquatic center, an intergenerational center, and an arts center. Investing in the Odenton Town Center was another idea that folks had, and revitalizing or aging or struggling commercial sites within the region. Moving on to, again, the other component of this region planning process is the draft zoning map. So in regards to the draft zoning map, again, just some of the highlights. There were relatively few changes, as most changes were categorized by consistency changes. We're describing those types of changes as really aligning zoning lines to parcel lines, because over the years, our digital map has shifted a little bit. So again, we just want to make sure that those lines are synced up, the zoning lines are synced up to the parcel lines. We also want to right size the zoning. So in certain situations, there may have been an area that was R15, but townhomes, according to, again, our planning purposes, are really more of an R10 type of zoning district. So we just wanted to change the zoning to, again, right size the zoning to what's actually built on the ground. Back about 4 years ago, the county adopted Plan 2040, which was a countywide master plan. It included planned land use. It did not go into comprehensive zoning at that time. So this region plan process is that opportunity to then match the appropriate zoning to the planned land use that was recommended in Plan 20 or adopted in Plan 2040. And we also have a new policy on counties open space and how those areas should be zoned. So a few commercially zoned properties along Maryland 3 are recommended to be changed from, say, a commercial zoning district to an MXD, which is our mixed use zoning district. And that would be an MXDN for neighborhood. It's sort of the middle of the road of intensity of our zoning, our mixed use zoning districts. And lastly, any growth within the region is intended to be directed to the Odenton Town Center, where there is infrastructure, including a robust public transportation system. And I know a lot of folks here are probably here for the Two Rivers area, and the application that we had received from the developer had really requested that the zoning stay the same. And our recommendation is to maintain the existing zoning in that area as well. So looking at, again, this is just a draft zoning map. It's still, the draft zoning map still needs to go to county council, and they have the authority to adopt the map. But again, is at this point, here are just some statistics of based on our recommended map compared to what's actually adopted. And again, just a brief explanation, because we do planners, we tend to work with acronyms and abbreviations. So R is our residential zoning districts, with the numbers indicating increasing levels of density. SV is small business. C is our commercial zones, again, with different levels of intensity. MXD, like I said, is our mixed use zones. OTC is our Owenton Town Center zoning districts. W zones are our industrial zones, and OS is open space. So again, just kind of hitting on some of the highlights here where you may see some significant differences. There's a difference in RA, RLD, and R5. The loss in these residential categories likely due to the steep gain in open space. R10, the increase is a result of right-sizing the zoning to the built conditions. I used the examples of townhomes before. And R15, the loss of R15 associated with the gain of R10, again, that sort of trade-off that we had when we wanted to right-size some of the zoning based on the built conditions. The increase in W3 was, again, based on the fact of just ensuring that the zoning lines match the parcel lines. So again, there's some W3 behind Wall Chapel and towards the Woodwardville area as well. And OS, there was a significant increase as a result of county's policy to zone a parcel OS if it is in a dedicated floodplain, open space, and conservation areas, mainly based on, again, those consistency changes and property owner applications. So again, I'm just, again, providing a brief overview for tonight, but much of the information can be found on the Region 5 website, aacounty.org/Region 5. Here you can find links to the draft plan, an interactive draft zoning map, tables to help explain the recommended changes, and how to provide written comment. Please also consider signing up to receive updates and reminders about public comment periods and next steps. So I do want to also provide a recap of the entire process and then focus specifically about where we are in this planning advisory board process, as well as then the next step at county council. So OPZ, Office of Planning and Zoning, we kicked off the process in April of 2024. And since then, we have asked for feedback through several questionnaires and attended many local fairs and festivals. And even just this past week, we heard from Arundel High School students about what their ideas are about how they want this area to grow over the next 10 to 20 years. From October 2024 to August 2025, we met with that appointed stakeholder advisory committee from all parts of the region on a monthly basis. With their help and the public feedback we've received, we have developed the draft Region 5 plan and the draft Region 5 zoning map that is now under consideration by the PAB. So this slide illustrates the planning. We're zooming in here just to the planning advisory board process. And the next step is then the county council there on the right-hand side. So as I previously mentioned, the initial PAB briefing from a few weeks ago can be found on the website, aacounty.org/Region 5. This briefing was intended to give an overview of the draft plan and zoning map. At that meeting, the public record for written testimony was opened. Written testimony can be submitted until October 22nd through the hub site. So there is still time to submit written testimony. Again, as if you're still developing some ideas, you still have some time then to go to that website and submit those written comments. And again, tonight is the opportunity for oral testimony. So the PAB will be deliberating and making their recommendation on November 19th. Since zoning applications may still be coming in during this public comment period, an additional meeting of the PAB will be held to receive public comments and for them to make a recommendation on new zoning applications. And that is that December 3rd meeting date. So the draft plan and the draft zoning map will then move to the county council, again in the upper right-hand corner, for their review, public hearings, and potential amendments. They'll review the recommendations by the Office of Planning and Zoning, the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, and the Planning Advisory Board. The County Council has the authority to adopt the plan and the zoning map. And like I said, there will be additional public input opportunities during the County Council process, so please continue to stay engaged and please let friends, family, coworkers know about the process and how they can stay involved. I'll also note that at each stage of this process, the libraries within the region will have a draft hard copy plan, and I'm sure the librarians will be able to help you if you don't have a computer at home to use some of the online portals that we have for you to submit comments or review the materials that we've posted online. So with that, I will hand it back over to Chairman Kurtz for any questions or to begin the public hearing.
Thank you, Mark. This evening, we're getting ready to get started. Before we do that, I want to just recognize all the training and staff and what hard work they do. And the volumes and volumes of information that they put together in all the meetings and attendance. Comprehensive rezoning process only occurs every 10 years. This is a tremendous amount of work. And also the SAC, which is Stakeholders Advisory Committee. Do we have any members of the SAC here? SAC members, volunteers, and thank you for all your hard work and all of your recommendations to all parties. Thank you very much. So with that, the Planning Advisory the public hearing reports. Every speaker will be for 2 minutes or so. We only have about 12 to 15 people sign up to speak, so come up, take your time, and say what you need to say. When you're called to speak, please come forward to the front here and state your name and your address and identify what parcel of property you are speaking on. Right there, right there. And please try to come there because this is one we're online because we want to make sure everybody that's online can see and hear. If you're online and you want to speak, Jessica will give you and then your turn unmute and you can speak at that time. Out of respect for everyone's time, we do have a timer, and if you go, it's okay, but we want to try to keep everything fair. Also, if you have not signed up to speak, we want to hear from everyone. So here's a sign-up sheet. If you haven't signed up, you will get given an opportunity to speak this evening. Just let us know that you will come up and speak. So with that, we're going to start our public hearing, and the first speaker tonight will be Phil Hager, speaking on 740 America.
Can I interrupt just for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Getting some feedback from people online that they can't hear. They could hear Mark Wildonger, but once you move the microphone, now they're getting background noise. So I don't know if your tech people can look into that to help them out.
Okay, Jessica, can we make the how we can do?
Thank you. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, thank you for that.
Great, thank you. Good evening. Phil Hager, Hager Range. I'm here to talk about Ambrose, Chippewa, Saturn D. I can we talk about our request to see for this property. It is submitted at the beginning of the process and review further to this point. This request has to do with Athletic Performance Incorporated, which is abbreviated API. API is a for-profit business, but it is an important part of our community. API serves as a center for analytical community sports, serving as an indoor option for many local community-based sports and recreation programs, including Gamble Services and Recreation Council, Crossing Athletic Council, Savannah Park Green Hornets, and Seven Athletic Club. Additionally, API is home to many local non-profit sports organizations, including the Bay Area Volleyball Academy, Lady Aces Volleyball Academy, Freedom Field Hockey Club, DMV Maryland Softball, Integrity Lacrosse Club, Warlock Field Hockey, and Maryland Lacrosse League. That's one of those things. So I wanted to actually redo this thing to see why we feel such an important part of our community and why so many people recognize it as integral to the community. Beyond being a home campus youth sports organization, annually, ATS serves over 1,000 families in the all-sports kids academy and sports-specific camp each summer. These families trust ATS as alternative to traditional daycare to ensure that children stay physically active and socially engaged. As stated, it is an important part of the community, and I think after hearing some of these actions, some of those movements, I think you are going to find agree with me. It was gratifying to see that both OPZ and the SAC agreed that it was an important part of the community and needed to be treated as such. And they, in the case of they concurred with our requested, zoning designation of C4. I will conclude by stating that the corridor in this area is dominated by C4. C4 will allow us to continue their business in this area, and it will allow this use to expand its utilization of the state that they have available. Thank you.
Okay. Board members, any questions?
For how much space? I see that it's 3.52 for all A, B, C, and D. So how much is B currently using, and how much could they expand to use?
Like a separate application.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
A, B, C, D. Okay, who says something?
So the parcelization of the application was done by OPZ, not in accordance with our request. So the entire request, the entire property is C4. The existing zoning is C2, on the proponents of the property, but the request is C4 to allow for greater lot coverage and property for efficient use of that property.
I'm going to ask a question. How much is the property currently is C4 and how much is C2?
The best I know, none of the property is C4.
Okay, how many percent?
I would be delighted to see the report and that provide clarification on that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is
Just again, I hate to interrupt, but people say they can hear you now, but they can't hear the speaker here. So I think there's still something wrong with how you try to.
yeah, thank you for letting us know.
Jessica, can we move that closer to the owl maybe, move the microphone closer to the owl?
Microphone up.
You think that may help? Or if they want to come up here, they can speak up here and I'll give them this microphone if this works.
Did you say they can hear you now?
That's the last word I heard. They can hear you, but you can't hear the speaker here. Try this a second.
Give them a minute to respond. Yep.
What's up? My name is Jessica Levy. I work in the office of planning and zoning. I'm going to give testimony to see if it's here.
It's gonna probably take a little bit, so I carry it.
Okay, so the next speaker is C-minute walk. And they have received yours, Brandon.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Ball. I'm the owner of the property located 740 Rock Creek South, Gables. We submitted an application at the beginning of the Region 5 process, requesting to do them to C4. Our change request number is CZ-RI-GAN-0007B. This property is home to API and many other youth sports organizations from our local community. We have been operating here since November of 2011. We provide indoor sports facilities, youth and adult fitness programs, sports cancer clinics, birthday parties, and much more. We've been honored to be part of the community for over 20 years, and it is extremely gratifying to hear of the SAC talking about my business so favorably in their discussion. I'm very happy that they agreed with my request to be done, and that both they and the OPC think that they should be done. Our plans are to continue to be a part of this community at this location for the foreseeable future. And hopes and wishes are to continue to offer superior indoor and outdoor athletic opportunities to Antelope County residents of all ages. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your consideration of this request.
Thank you. Board members, any questions?
What's behind you? I see you from the front, I see you right on C3, but, Route 3, but what's behind you?
Regency Park Assisted Living Community. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You did receive 117 letters to support.
Yes, sir.
Good marketing.
We have a lot of people that utilize this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, George Ratliff. And after George, Texas, oh.
Good evening. My name is George Ratliff. I'm a resident at 1905, 1909, whatever that was. The property in question that I'm here to represent is CD-5-GM-001, located 800 block of the railroad campus. The owners, I'm here on behalf of the owners, Michael Scott Tanner. This is a family legal property which they had owned in the family system in 1979, over 45 years ago. The zoning change in our process of before. It is a 2.2 acre undeveloped, relatively narrow property located between an existing Comcast telecommunication facility consisting of single block building, cell tower, storage area for cable schools, and fiber building. To the north of the property, which is zoned C4, is a self-storage facility with a large extra space self-storage. The property directly across from this site is zone C4, currently under development as highway commercial retail center. This is development across the highway has local water and sewer, public water and sewer, but county facilities to the property as well. I recognize that traffic has increased dramatically along the corridor, and I personally attended the state highway administration work session at the local library, where plans are in design and under design for the improvement tree from the station to 175 on both sides, including widening the property. I would be in front of the property, which is 3 days. If I could that, that's permissible. We believe that the use is compatible with the existing and proposed underdevelopment properties in the area, that the zoning request is consistent with the highway commercial designation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from board members? So it is 2 acres or something about.
2.2 undeveloped acres. It was the section. Scott and Michael Tanner.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next, Patrick O. Objection not found. In any matter
feedback I'm getting is they can't hear anybody on this.
Okay. Patrick, can you come up here?
We don't even have to go upstairs.
Or, yeah. Hey, Steph. We have to have you on video, so you got to turn it down.
Good evening. Okay, cycles. This is, across CDB 15 GAL 0. This is references for Eastern Performance Cycles, C1, and has a non-conforming use of W2. We're requesting C4 permit in accordance with the SAT recommendation for Eastern Performance is a multi-generational family business that has been located in the Staples Corner area for decades. They predominantly involves sale of golf carts and custom motorcycle parts. While these activities are covered by the W2 CU, we feel that C4 is the best zoning to best adequately match what is happening on the premises. And to that end, we requested C4 that would eliminate the NCU status of property, which is equal to 2040. This rebuilding is also consistent with a succession plan. EPC is currently operated by Tim and Susan James. Now they are representing handling business offices next generation soon, and part of that would be adjustments to a change in consumer market, which involves, in addition to golf carts, the emergence of low speed vehicles, which are street legal, essentially these two golf carts. And in order to sell these low speed vehicles, they would need a dealership license, which require C4 zoning. And that's why we're asking for C4 to best match the current operation and to allow future operations to continue to develop to the change in consumer market. Thank you.
I do have a question. I just hold the mic. The non-conforming W2, you know when that was granted?
Yes, that W2 non-conforming was granted, off the top of my head, I know that it was granted as of 1991. And it may have been further back, but they've been operating with W2 since at least 1991.
W2, no, not C2.
W2, light industrial is the non-conforming use designation.
And was it Performance Cycles when they got the W2?
No, I it's property have been used as performance since 1997. Previously, they were a variety of uses on site.
That clarifies things, because you wouldn't be Performance Cycles and request W2 when you really see something.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any other questions? What size is the parcel? 1.2 acres?
Yeah.
Elizabeth has a question.
So you right now, under W2, can do the golf carts, but the low speed vehicles
Yes, that's right. My understanding is that golf carts are commercial equipment, which is permitted under W2. But most of the vehicles would be automobiles, which would require CPO.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Marcia Perry.
Marshall Beverly.
I came mostly to listen. I got to.
Well, we want to hear from you. Come on up.
It'll be a 40-minute speech.
And after Marcia, Phil Dales and Stephanie Narona.
Do you want me to pass to them?
No, come on up. I'd like to hear from you.
Okay. It's true, I came mostly, I have a hockey view. That's why I yell. I'm gonna do my best to say in 2 minutes, so I can have, if you have a way to go on the speak for 2 minutes. I've not done that ever, but here, I'll try to be as succinct and eloquent as secret, I don't do that. Pat and I both agree that animal kind is the best place of all. Share his best place opinion. And that's why both the Hookers and the Perrys bought our homes in Providence in 1965. But things have been changing and rapidly changing, and I very much appreciate the thanking those that have worked on this for so long, as I follow it as close as I can, but I mostly wanted to simply address the whole problem of promotion of mixed-use development. And that being because Stuart's saying it's the best place for all. You can't stop, you can't keep welcoming people to come here and live, and yet not have that in tune with that concept, in tune with the development of our land and with the infrastructure needs that we have. The planning advisory board has a lot in front of them when we find that the county has been ignoring the needs for preservation and the restoration of our natural environment. Meanwhile, we've not kept up with planning or infrastructure in the county. For example, there's no creation of new desks, new seats for our students, so we welcome everyone involved to come and live here. So, and I use this example, maybe the level of environment, that the warehouse properties on Route 3 are an environmental disaster. And I did that in a few minutes and more to go. So I'll leave it now. This is your lab because you know we're here for whether you want to or not. Real lots of just clean that we have to, we're not making any more of that stuff. We land. And she also said, when you have the opportunity to shut up, so I'll do that. But in the meantime, I just say, on all of us to think about preservation and conservation of the land that this county has and we love, and the reason we love here and we love all of this. But we need the infrastructure to back up what goes along with any good. So much of the time.
As a reminder also, we will accept written testimony. So you had your 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes here speaking. If you want to submit 20 pages, submit it, we'll read it.
Can I read it? Can we read it? Okay.
Okay, next, Bill Dales.
Thank you. Second, it's fine. She's very much.
Okay.
So, good evening, Bill Dale, Associates. Here on behalf of Two Rivers Association LLC, and I'm speaking about your community. I'll start by confirming what the logo said. The application that we submitted to the SEC requests that zoning remain throughout the River. So I just now we ask that it remain that way, looking for any changes and increases to permissible density. I will note though that we are not opposed to the many cleanup reasons where many parks throughout the rivers, the zoning district not currently aligned with the park. And that's the result of the digital mapping zoning and the long complicated issue of Two Rivers. And so basically, the zoning district doesn't have a problem. If that's correct throughout our property, throughout our entire community, we are most supportive of that. In that, because it's a result of that kind of change. Because it's reduced density or increase the permissible density of the property. And it's particularly important that that not change to the community as it is planning development. So the approval of the Path Community Committee pulled across many different parcels. And so that's the short version why we understand the kind of policy is not it is only throughout planning development communities. So we appreciate that these recommendations and everything remain the same, or it's going to be parcel computers, and the SAP agree with that. For those other parcels where the correction is not made, and there's still a list on we've done making additional boundaries and property boundaries, we'll submit a written testimony that everyone can see the plan over this few parcels remaining. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from board members? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ed Reel. And then next, Kathy Fleischman.
I'll just say that I had 4 people in contact with me saying that the audio is garbled. They can hear you without a microphone, so I'm wondering if there's a microphone being picked up here, and then maybe this is overdriving that. And we're not going to resolve it tonight, but maybe something you could look at for future meetings.
If you're loud, then don't use, we'll turn
Well,
the
this
mic
is
off.
probably for this audience here too. So,
So remember your name, the property you're talking about, your timer will be up here and the camera.
Thank you. My name is Ed Reel. I'm program. A little bit closer here. You guys are, this is region 5, which includes 2 rivers. That's specifically what I'd like to address. I'm here tonight representing a grassroots citizen group known as Friends of 2 Rivers. We were founded last year and advocating for existing homeowners for 2 rivers. Last year, the 2 rivers developers announced the plan to seek approval for a new plan of development that will create 350 homes on Parsons Bowl. Last year, Friends of 2 Rivers conducted a poll of 2 river homeowners, and we determined that 500 people responded to our poll, and 83% expressed opposition to the new development. One of your goals is to update and correct the zoning acts. Partial L is currently zoned portions of our area, portions of our food, portions of open space. In accordance with the agreement between the owners of Partial L and Lafayette, the Partial L was forever to be set aside as an environmental park, and those structures were going to be built on this property. This is was recorded in the filing in 2016. For some unknown reason, the entirety of Partial L was never rezoned to open space in accordance with the legally binding and recorded agreement. Therefore, I'm suggesting that the correct zoning act for Partial L, the zoning for the entire parcel should change to open space. It should be also. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Next, Kathy Fleischman. One question, how large is parcel O? Do you know? How many acres?
That's the question.
Oh,
How large is parcel O?
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
It's approximately 143 acres. Approximately 143 acres.
Thank you. Okay.
My name is Anna Wilson. I did, I'm here about the change CCR, SCR, SCR, actually, I got reports of the top. We've been here for many years. And we were not placed on this map, which you all have, we're combining the Woodwardville and now the rivers. I guess, if I have the question, why do we not? We began the water on Woodwardville and of course, they're the important rivers. That's, we would like to be recognized. I am interested in zoning rather space. We have identified forests that have been destroyed. Our beautiful wildlife no longer has to go. Our wetlands, watershed, and coastal streams are really impacted by more building. Our forests are disappearing. Homeowners' properties are being devastated. Instead of area, that river from the Texas River. And now being contaminated before that water goes to the bed. Our parts of Texas are a mess. 2 rivers in Arundel, we all are severely impacted with traffic. These roads are never designed to accommodate all the traffic being generated from these streets. There's only one way in, one way out, and the traffic eventually dumps to Route 3, which is a bad highway and a dead end out. In order to said there's really poor job of planning and executing the 2 rivers project, but they allowed it. Now the developer wants to add 377 homes. I do not understand such free. We don't need more houses, businesses, we need more open space, trees, walking trails, sanctuary for our rights, and on, which is just quickly disappearing. No one is so concrete for purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. President, Ms. Nelson, we do have a question.
So you started out stating that you want to keep your open space designation, but you want to be included in your designation as Woodwardville or included in your designation as 2 rivers?
Okay, on that map, you'll see, on the map, it's
2 rivers, and then you see Woodwardville. We have many years been considered under Woodwardville. Now that the service is here, we kind of are lost in we're part of Woodwardville and 2 rivers, as it is shown on the maps that you have. I guess the way back and forth to the continent also have, in there, have our name, so everybody might see where we are. But I guess we're with 2 rivers in the Woodwardville, where that combination.
it's the label on the map for the communities, like how when we say
Okay.
Region 5 is Woodwardville, 2
What
rivers.
post office do you use?
2 rivers is in the Woodwardville.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, James Holman.
Good evening. My name is Jim Jones. I am a resident of the Fort Kentucky Unit. Our boundaries are the Kentucky River, where the Kentucky River forks. It encompasses Woodwardville, Wilson's Down, Irish Station Road, Great Ford Road, as well as 2 rivers. I reside at 1546 Myers Station Road. Tonight, I'm here to bring some concern and opinion of the lease of certain property of River Association. I am not going to the purpose still being built. I am opposed to just living a parcel of CD-R5-PRS-0005C, which is the open space used as a community park for future residents. This is also supposedly sold by Peter Associated and is now called Raising Woodwell LLC. Peter Associated would like to develop this parcel to add an additional 277 homes to the 2060 homes, raising it total to 2,437. County officials have stated there are 100 to the site of handling additional vehicles in the queue as it is. Future associates are also asking to represent parcels as well. In the agricultural park, CD at FI-2RS-001A and D. This is all the open space. They also are asking for upbuilding in their community where there is open space on the TV or PRS-001A. They are also asking for us to a parcel that adopts the core content is not part of the community unless the future associate that purchases all. It is unknown to us at the time. Our community has been signed and notified our document and this is not. Was signed by the policies of the future section to the importance of the community. Has been recognized and on the candidate as it has been placed in the records of the study of second hearing held in 2016, which removed the ball to the 55 and over age restricted from future community. This document makes restrictions on land survey of the Two River and also holds the development to a maximum of 2,060 units. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Holman, would you be kind enough to submit your testimony for the record, please?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Joel Barry Brown.
And just a reminder, if you are hoping to see, the first service, you can do just around, so I can make sure I write out your name correctly in the record.
My name is Joel Barry Brown. I'm speaking about the parcel over in Two Rivers. My wife and I reside on Kentucky Ridge Road in Two Rivers. And we are strongly opposed to the zoning requests that add an additional 377 dwelling units to Two Rivers and reduction in open space on parcel of. As mentioned earlier by Ed Rio and the last speaker, the March 8th, 2016 agreement calls for parcel of never to have housing on it and also limits the number of dwelling units in Two Rivers in 2006. The current number of units either developed or in development at Two Rivers is 2006. In addition to that, we are all aware of the problems with our limited access and egress on time. The proposed addition of 377 units will add between 700 and 800 vehicles, which will result in over 1,500 daily trips on a typical day. Conway is our only access. And we live in a grocery store desert, a pharmacy desert, etc. There are no services whatsoever in Two Rivers. For any services, we either have to go to Piney Orchard, along Patuxent Road, or Route 3. There is no other way for any services in or out, except for conduit. And that includes fire, police, and ambulance services come in and out of it. The requested zoning changes also fail with the adequate public facilities requirements, which mentioned earlier. Most of our on-site facilities and amenities are fully used now, and adding additional 377 units, which will account for over 1,000 residents, is more than half the units of all ages. It will just overrun the facility. Their plan calls for no additional facility. Also, this will allow the developer to continue to control the homeowners association, even though it's been turned over. It's the 377 units, but will give them approximately 566 additional votes in the homeowners association's election, which goes against the spirit of the homeowners of the Maryland Homeowners Association law. This will give them de facto control, which they still have now. In summary, we are adamantly opposed to the increase in residential units and reduction in open spaces. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What agreement recommends we set March?
I believe it's a 2016 agreement.
It's March 8th, 2016. It's agreement between the developers of Two Rivers, the Two Rivers Homeowners Association, which is completely controlled by the developers, and the Forks of the Potomac Improvement Association. It's on file with the county and part of the land.
We have a copy of it. We can provide you with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Andrew Meyer. And then after Andrew, it looks like Jay Halloran. And then Robin Bailey. Or Robin. Okay.
Members of the meeting, I'd like to honor Rachel Road, and next is Two River subdivision. The properties I'm talking about is RS 001 agency, 003, 004, and 005. In 2006, the Two River developers wanted to build a planned unit development. And their plan was to build a 2,060 home subdivision with a golf course and an agricultural center and 55 other homes. In 2016, they decided that they couldn't do this. They needed to make it all gated and they couldn't make it golf. In the administrative code in 2016, they said in lieu of making the golf course, that they could make that into a park. In the original subdivision, they asked that they could make part of the agricultural center and part of the golf course R2, so that they could put the 2,060 homes into 700 acres in the middle of the development. They have never changed that property back from R2 to RA and open space. And this needs to be done because there's no use having to be part of the R2 zone. Because parts of O, parts of R, and parts of N have R2 zones now, which Two Rivers says that they want to keep.
but that needs to be brought back to RA and open space. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Question?
Repeat the very last sentence. You said you want the park is currently R2, but you want parcel O, parcels
R and parcels N,
back to RA
to RA or open space.
or open space. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Mr. Holloran?
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
My name is John Holland. Basically a resident of Two Rivers. I'm kind of against the expansion of all the 377 homes. Primarily, all the resources are maximized now. Conway Drive, traffic, you can't walk outside of Two Rivers. It's all impeded. If you're going to take traffic and go on to Route 3, the red lights aren't synced well enough. It's a big backup. The school size, they just built a new school. It's already maxed out. You're adding another 400 homes, which is basically increasing 16%, which will increase the student size by an equal number amount. Emergency vehicles during rush hour, it's hard to get through, especially where the school zones are. Single points of failure, they finally opened up another entrance on Two Rivers, but now you have a single point of failure at the circle at Conway and Patuxent Road. Because that circle has all kinds of traffic coming into one spot at varying speeds, and all of a sudden it's a stoppage. There's no walkways. You're talking about expanding Conway, it's going to take 3 years. I don't think you should be increasing residency until you increase capabilities, like bringing up Conway from an agricultural road to maybe a 4-lane road. And from my understanding, the plans say it's going to take 3 years to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Robin?
Yeah.
Robin. Thank you, Robin.
Sure. My name is Robin Daly. I'm the newest to the Rivers here in April. And I have another story. And I just wanted to specifically focus on a concern about the flood maps. I went on the website and I noticed that there were references to FEMA. And it's been widely reported that the FEMA maps are very outdated. Conway Road in particular, even on the outdated FEMA maps, is underwater. And we are punishing is bringing more intense sewer storms. It is not a possibility to have hurricane runs or whatever storm city and really so different. So I don't know the extent of research that has been done, but I ask that in addition, if it's not already looked at, look at Earth3.org that has more data for local businesses, governments, and residential property owners that give you better prediction of the potential products. I'm very concerned about that environmental park being developed where there's a flood, all that concrete, if it's built there, is not going to, it's not going to be served well enough to absorb any floodwaters. So I'm afraid that it's going to increase our floodwaters and the existing rivers if those additional homes are built. So that's our consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, next, Nita Satina.
Good evening, my name is Cecilia. I was representing the organizations and the business coverage. It was my advisory committee, and I was to have a case of staff. It's very easy, the different level of staff planning. I speak today in support of the Region 5 plans and environmental strategies to prepare a conservation plan for the Dallas Solution. And I respectfully urge the PAD to recommend these environmental strategies at the high priority for completion in the short term of the county. Work development was started in Dallas in 1977. The only such population in Maryland's Atlantic coast. The Japanese has been recognized as simply water protection ever since. The 2003 Norwegian Small Area and 2009 General Development Plan included recommendations to protect the Japanese, including the adoption of the in 2007, the county recommended immediate protections to the Dallas South from stormwater services. Legislation in 2008 was developed by the Southern River Commission, which drafted the Dallas. In 2021, Plan 24 established our policy on the to prevent attacks and cemetery. Then in 2022, the Maryland water studies documenting serious harm in families. We have greater knowledge of understanding and how to restore our this. In conclusion, I respectfully urge the PAD to recommend that there be no amendments to comprehensively protect their soil.
Thank you. Okay, this says DA 238 West, is that,
That was Phil Dales, I think.
that was,
Mr.
Mr.
Dales, do you want to
Dales.
speak again? Or are you gone?
okay, and Mary Tobin,
Sorry.
Mary is the last one on the list, is that right? Oh, we got a couple more, okay, good. After Mary, we're gonna, have, let's see, Mr. Suleiman.
Hi, I'm Conan, Maple Road Community Association. We end at the judge desk, so, and we're right where we parallel 175 and 20 is in between us and them. Would be extremely helpful if someone could be the point person between the counties and the state on the property line of South Store Trail. We've been trying for 10 years or more to figure out what exactly our properties are, because all of our deeds say that we go to the center of the railroad right. At some point in time, the state, who at first said it was a prescriptive easement, said that they owned it, and the county then bought it from the state. So they took 33 feet from every property owner along that went to the center of the record. Half of our properties are still being taxed as if we go to the center of the right of way. I have talked to so many people in the county and in the state, and everyone says, not my job. This is not my office. Go talk to so-and-so. And by the time you've gone through 20 people, you're back at the very first one. So if we could please get an answer, that would be real helpful. Then the second thing is, especially now that, as we know, Route 3 is really local, and you've now got this new school up towards Mount Vernon, you cannot come down Gambles Road and make a left-hand turn on the 175 at 5 o'clock. You just can't. The traffic goes all the way out past what used to be Coffins. So if you could consider either a roundabout or a light, that would be great.
So I want to make sure we understand this. So the 33 feet, you feel the state is taxing you on that,
Well, I don't feel it, I know it.
they are taxing you on the, and nobody's been able to rectify that?
Nobody. And some people, somewhere along the line, their needs were changed. And then others of us, one person got told up the street, well, you're gonna have to get a lawyer and sue us. Well, that's the approach. And then now you've even taken my right away and turned it into Maple Road, which is a massive danger. So if we could get some clarity on what all those property lines are and how much we should be taxed as a
Okay, thank you. Question?
So the recommendation for your coffers would be that yes, a light or around that. Right now, we've got, because you've added in the traffic from the new school, plus every time, I guess, probably all the way down to the change of 175 around 3, it gets so backed up, all of the traffic fails out of New Cut Road and comes down, and then it just snakes on forever. And, when I was taking care of my mom, it would take me 25 minutes to go an 80 mile across the street to go far from the farm. So we just have something, a light for around it. And I know it's federal, state, and county issues, so the collaboration on this is a good need. Because we will also do it. Oh, yeah. I had to do with that. I was trying to go over to my sister's and the line would go like all the way past farm, whatever it is now. And it was like, okay, by this mill, all the way around, come down here and cross. Just to make it like.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman.
I'm very sorry. And I'm speaking today, I spent my whole career looking at communities, part of them, managing them, and sometimes there are too many overrun, competing, confusing. So I'm not exactly sure for like that we have to fix some of this issue. But overall, this is certainly part of everyone's support. I like a very good presentation earlier. Any people might be done a really good job. And some cases, it's exactly what was it work. But today, there's some access. Conway, which is completely clogged access to 2 rivers. And a lot of people use Conway and Tucson as a bypass. Around 3, and a lot of that traffic is doubled up and further cause congestion. So we're not theoretically concerned about the future troubles here today. And as I was insuring to go another way, that, custom building, our worker building was blocked for some other reasons. And so, we're there now. And the 370 plus homes, you may take out an average over a large area. But those 370 plus homes are being locked down behind that wall is a contributor to that. And, I don't think any of the residents expect that. I think these prior agreements, sort of escape, and say that to what extent we have a majority, you should take that into consideration.
Thank you. Well, here we are. Nobody else wants to speak.
Chair, could I also let people know if they want to talk online? I'm gonna let people know online if they want to do something. Also, if you're online and you are interested in giving testimony, if you could use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen to raise your hand, and then I'll be able to switch your settings so that you can give some comments. And if there's any technical difficulties, please feel free to use the written testimony feature. It still gets sent to the board, and I apologize in advance if there are.
My name is Jake Porter, this is Charlie Ellis, Romeo, Delta Romeo. I am speaking on the dairy farm. I am a resident at the dairy farm, since Dairy Lane. I'm co-owner of the Noble Farms with Voice Farm, located on the property. I am asking for a little bit of realistic expectations on your part and on the county council's part on what you're actually going to do with the property. The nature that it's been managed for years has been detrimental to the property, and it continues to be very, very difficult for the small businesses to be successful. I.e., there's this master plan, right? Like everybody talks about the abandoned master plan that's constantly we're putting the ideas of residents in the community's mind that's actually going to happen. Be real with yourself, it's not going to happen. There's a reason it didn't happen a long time ago, and there's a reason it's not going to happen now. However, like when you look at the uses for the property currently are for public access, education, rural, being protected to be a rural area, farmland, and county involvement. We have all those currently. It's protected because it has a lease to be farmed. Even though it is considered private property for us leaseholders, we still allow the community to not walk the 2.5 mile route around the entire property. I encourage you to come out whenever I see people out there with kids, I ask them to come to the course. We do education for the youth, outreach to nonprofits. We're a contributing member for to the local youth businesses. And then you have the Corn Maze, which is obviously a significant part of the local economy. And then you look at 4-H, that's education, they have a involvement there. The problem is you guys, I'm sorry, I'd say you guys expect them to county, I don't mean it like that, obviously, specifically you, but the problem is the county puts absolutely no money into infrastructure whatsoever. I do snow removal, I do repairs on the buildings, I try to fix up some roofs that are falling down. And it's just becoming a problem over years and years and years. It continues falling down and nobody puts any money into it, but it's been very difficult to deal with anybody at the county because nobody has any interest in repairing the property whatsoever. If you would just, the county would just work on getting the property in like infrastructure. Just getting that, the small businesses there, will take care of it. Like, just give us a little bit of infrastructure, just instead of trying to push unrealistic expectations, what could possibly be, but never happen.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question, Ron. You had the opportunity to speak to the county council.
So I mean, during the whole solar planning, the maybe solar planning debacle, we, spoke up with several people, but, that's the thing. How to do the solar panels, because currently current stance by the county seems to be, oh, well, the Navy has told us they're not gonna do anything about it. You don't have to tell you it's online. You look at stand.gov and the current proposal is enacted. It's not moving forward. So nobody is really like looks into what the Navy is, and they just kind of like say, oh, the Navy has that's what we're going to do it, so we're not. Yeah, I have reached out to our councils, people, and we're going to have meetings.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's very good.
And are you in contact with someone who wants to do jobs for you or?
Yeah, I mean, me and my partner, girl, was just education. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any other speakers? Jesse?
Way back.
Jessica needs to get your name.
I was here to struggle and. Then I see it, but I was mentioned since I think. The dairy farm road. Don't want to say there's it was really like the dairy farm road, there's like. Traffic counters that don't do anything when people fly by now on the 60 miles an hour. It's just a very, very minor. Anyways, this is the past weekend. My neighbor had fire than a fire and find access. The water supply and across the street, and someone hit and ran, like dragged him on the hose. So he was getting dirt and by the driveway again. So I just was curious if you had any ideas for.
What's your address? Or what specific area are you referring to?
Yeah, people live on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get that microphone? Yes.
I'm gonna tell you a little story. A friend of mine, Pete Peterson, ran a naval academy for 30 years. We were the resident of the years. And he told me one day, he said, "I'm not having to pay off." Oh, I said, "Why?" He said, "When we look at cows, a herd of it is so." For 30 years, I think he had maybe 4 days off. He was really going to run the equipment and make sure all the cows. Very interesting. With that, no other speakers. So the public hearing will be time that is now closed.
About the master plan of the dairy farm. I agree with the gentleman that I was on that planning committee and we spent a year, from all over, we had stakeholders from all over the county who worked on that master plan. It got accepted by the county, voters voted on it, they said they wanted it. We did open days on the dairy farm and people brought their kids. They all signed up. We had 3 lists of people who wanted to be able to rent a little space they were in townhouses and they wanted a little space to make a small little organic plot for gardening. I agree. We had the financial crash, and so it never got funded. And it is a large ask, but if you look at that plan closely, there are pieces of it that could be put into place in a stepwise fashion, depending, of course, on what the Navy finally comes up with. I think we still have another 10 years or so on that lease. And so you could do the little garden plots, for example. Some of the buildings are still in good enough, pretty good, where you could have like the master gardeners come up and lead little classes like we had planned in how to do a garden. We had kids learn how to build blueberry houses. And then they took that home and made their own blueberry houses. So there were all kinds of little things that could be done without doing the entire master plan at once. So there are so many pieces of it, and it also helps with the best because the Jabez goes basically right to the face of the Navy Academy Dairy Farm. And when we had all that talk about the solar, Maryland agriculture folks decided they really don't want the solar because it poisons the soil. So it's a complicated issue, but there are things out there that we counter.
And in what plan was it, you say, for all the planning today?
This was under Arundel, and it was a master plan for the dairy farm. It's called Henry's Connection, I think is what they ended up calling it. And it literally was a plan for how we would use, I think it was something like 167 acres of the entire amount. The rest of it would be for farming. That 167 acres would be devoted to natural gardens, a sledding hill, community supported agriculture. It was all these different aspects of education in how can kids learn to farm, all those little pieces were in there. And it was literally a national plan that was to be effective over such a year.
Thank you, Mike.
Just that we have a copy of the master plan available and it has been referenced throughout like the SAC and the planning process.
Okay, thank you.
I had something just from here. I don't need to go down there if you don't mind. I'm sorry. I just have to interject on one little aspect of that. Since the master plan hasn't been implemented, other businesses have devoted their entire lives and all of their money into becoming a business at the farm. So our biggest concern as a small business at the farm, it has our entire life. We live there, we work there, we survive through our business set up at the farm. So one of our biggest concerns is going on with planning. We would really like to be involved in those discussions as opposed to what currently is just people that have absolutely no interest in the farm making decisions and then not involving the people that it affects. That's all. I just wanted to interject that. I do agree with her. There's a lot of room for other things to happen. 100%. I actually submitted this proposal myself to the county, and I was literally laughing at this was as an engineer. But anyways, I just wanted to interject that. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so the public testimony of the portion is now closed. There will be written testimony that is accepted up until midnight on Wednesday, October 22nd. So you can go to the Region 5 website and submit written testimony. With that, if there's no other speakers, I'm going to motion like to adjourn. Motion made a second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
That's it.